dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. And I can tell you this morning, it's worth being here before the show starts. Mr. Bleach on top form this morning with his very British smart and innuendo. Thank you very much for that, Peter. But a few giggles before the show has even started this morning. Thank you, Pete. Got Matty in there, who we hear is not feeling so well, nor is Pete and Diana. Got a little bit of a persistent cough there. So Ash Melioras to you all. João Denort in, James, and of course Coach Turner, nice and early in his skin-tight shorts, ready to tell us a little bit more about running this morning. So welcome aboard the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast this morning with me, Carl Munson. Good to be here. A leisurely start this morning, I think, and then we'll say hi to the lads in Lisbon, the chaps in the capital, the Chapitals at around 9 this morning, and then, of course, Alyson Sheldrake at 9:30 will be joining us and talking through the latest edition of Snapshot magazine, which he created down there in the Algarve, along with husband Dave. Beautiful images and photography and great information about all sorts of things that are going on in the Algarve. So looking forward to chatting to those three and with you this morning before we welcome our guests onto the show. How are you doing this morning? It sounds like there's a bit of constipado and a few tosses around, coughs that would be. What are you doing? Mrs. M's been making all sorts of concoctions involving lemons in the studio. I've got a little bit of a creaky throat by the sound of it this morning, but I've got a nice cup of loose leaf Earl Grey, which is what I've been drinking, with a little bit of Philomena's honey in it, which is really nice. So, take care, all of you who are not feeling so well. Rest. I think we underestimate the need for rest, do we not? So wrap up warm, Matty, and take it easy, mate. I know you've got a lot on your plate, which can't be an easy proposition to know that you need to rest and take care of yourself and have so much to do there on the Quinta. So, but put your health first, buddy. Absolutely the most important thing. Aussie Mania also just in. Hola Malta. Bon dia. Wet weather means you have the pleasure of my company again this morning. Yeah, it's been very rainy. The rain's been off and on since the night before last, when it seemed to start at 10. And I hope it's not the start of one of those 5-week rain seasons that we had last year. Can do without that. Looking very great, however. And I got a message through late last night in San Martino de Porto. The lights are out and there's a smell of smoke. Do you know what's happening? No, I didn't. I think everything's all right again now. If you could do me a favor when it comes to San Martino de Porto, can you have a look at the website, lovesmdp.com? I need some help, actually, and configuring my GoDaddy domain to my Google site, which has gone horribly wrong since I tried to sort it out. So a lovely little website there, but I don't think anyone can see it at the moment because my configuration is wrong. Does anybody know of who is our go-to web nerd in this community here? I wonder. Do let me know. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got for you this morning. I will just step through a few slides. Actually, tonight at 9, I'm going to be doing a special at 9 o'clock this evening. Golden visa's gone, NHR tax regime has gone. What next, we wonder? I mean, not what's going next necessarily, but what's happening next here in Portugal. And I'd like to zoom right back and have a look at what the prospects are for Portugal this evening at 9 in terms of safety, security, and for me, the most important marker, really, sanity. And I do believe this is a sane place to be. And it's all relative, of course, isn't it, in this bonkers world in which we live. So I'll be having a chat about that this evening at 9 o'clock. Do join me. and take part in the fun there. James, you remember that book idea we had? I mean, I don't even know if it got as far as having a sort of concept of this kind, but do you remember we thought we might do? I'm really not sure if it came out of my mind and I articulated it to you or not. 11 o'clock. What's that about, Matty? I wonder. The elephant in the room, which is, as far as I can figure out, the Portuguese translation would be Os elefante no quarto, na quarto, the elephant in the room. And this can be our picture book. Do you remember, like, I don't know if you had Jackie magazine in the United States, but pictures like that and speech bubbles of you and me talking to each other in different scenarios. I wonder, what do you think, James? Should we do that? If you could send me some pictures of you reacting, we can take this one page at a time, can't we? And hopefully we can get beyond that first page that we seem stuck at, which is Hola, bon dia, tudo bem, muito bem, obrigado. And we'll take it to a few other scenarios, and the elephant can be gently released from the room. But if you could send me some pictures of you going, and and those sorts of things, we'll make a picture book, Learn Portuguese for Beginners. Excellent stuff. Okay. Also thank you very much, Katia Lima, for this New Year meme. Same old mistakes, glorious new mistakes. Which do you choose? Better the devil you know, or off to meet some new devilish situations in life? And I still didn't get around to this. This was put to you a couple of days ago. Where is the southernmost point in Portugal? Many believe that the southernmost point is the mainland mainland Portugal, is in Sagres. However, it's actually located in the eastern Algarve, in case you are labouring under that misapprehension. So the southernmost point in Portugal is in the eastern Algarve. Further details available at the Portugal News. And have you been looking at the slides for the shows? There's a hidden cockerel every morning now. It's like Where's Wally, but instead it's like Where's the cockerel? And we don't have a pet name for him. I see in the chat this morning there are more ideas for what we call ourselves: expats, foreigners, immigrants. I'm really not very bothered about it anymore, I have to say. I think the conversation about it is more important than people getting their knickers in a twist about what we're called and what we should and shouldn't be called. And it looks like we're having that conversation this morning. Do we have a pet name for the little cockerel who you can see in this picture? And every show slide for the last few days, he's in there somewhere if you want to take a look at those. And of course, next Monday, we have the Portugal Wine Club delayed a week, just so that we can get back into the swing of things and probably actually recover from all the Christmas and New Year drinking. Best wines of 2019. I found myself a Porca da Mersa red from 2019, a Douro red. I'm going to buy a bottle. I was thinking of maybe getting, because they've got it in various years, I was going to do an annual comparison, which I still might do. And then I realized I don't like red wine as much as I like white wine. So I might have to do the same sort of experiment with the white wine. But do join us for that next Monday with Chinese Terry, having a conversation with Nubianette about just exactly how much trouble I would be in if I lived in California for referring to somebody as Chinese Terry. Maybe that's why she wants to move from there. I don't know. Also in the news, and then we'll go over to the goodmorningportugal.com website for a bit more than on this. The largest generations in each country. This came, I think, from expats in Portugal, the Facebook group. They all sound very similar, don't they, the expat groups, especially the ones that have the word expat in them. They are easily confused and interchangeable. I believe this one, expats in Portugal. I'll come back to that because that's some interesting information. But how do you identify? Are you a baby boomer? Are you a Gen X? I don't think there are many millennials watching the Good Morning Portugal show. I can only think maybe a Francis in Porto. And there is is it a Gen X or a baby boomer distinction, the Jones generation? I hadn't heard of that until yesterday. Let's look at a few of your greetings this morning before we get into all of that then and take a look at the website. And also over at GMP VIP, didn't get round to looking at the top sales of new cars, the top 10 motoring performers. I've got a flat battery. Thanks, Don. I'll see you after the show and giving me a jump start. And thanks, Franz, actually, who was keen to help me last night with a hybrid. And when we went to try it last night and put the jump leads on, it was really disconcerting to think I might be destroying his hybrid. A car that was switched on, but nothing was happening. This is how it works with electric cars, isn't it? I'm so not in this decade, let alone this century, really, when it comes to motoring. And it just reminded me of the old days of, hitting solenoids with hammers and that sort of thing as I was trying to do a jump start. And in the end, I had to say to Franz, thank you very much, mate, but I don't want to destroy your car with an inadvertently inappropriate jump start maneuver with my car. So I thanked him and sent him on his way. And I'm going to be hooking up literally with Don on the key, two fellas trying to jumpstart a motor after the show this morning. But it was really interesting to be taken back and to think about how things might be with electric cars. It seems when they're dead, they're really dead, aren't they? And you can't push start it or jump start it or do some of the good old fashioned things you used to be able to do. But maybe they're a lot more reliable as well. I'm sure Pete will have a view on that. Okay, so we'll come back to the top 10 sellers when it comes to cars, and also Antonio, equally busy with details on how to complain to the IMT, also over at GMP VIP. Anyhow, or anywho, as our Canadian friends would say. Bon dia todos from Coach Turner. Early start this morning as off to collect granddaughter who's staying the night. She's a bonkers 5-year-old. Wish you luck. Well, Bossard, good luck with that. I've got one of those, a bonkers 5-year-old. Yes, have fun. God scored. I don't know what else to tell you. God scored tip of the day. A simple one today. Carl alluded to visualization yesterday, and it can be very helpful if you know what to visualize. When beginning to run, position your center of mass correctly. Misses. Definitely. Ideally, it should be over the forefoot with your center of mass. This is a good exercise, isn't it? It won't lose you many calories, but it's a very interesting exercise to imagine what's going on and to intend it with your internal, your psychic kinetic activity here. That means leaning slightly forward from the hips. Thus, when you land each step, your weight will naturally push you forward with minimal resistance. Can you imagine? There are people who are running and walking who are doing it in a very inefficient way and have probably done so for decades. And just a simple mindful moment here and a little bit of practice could revolutionize how they use their body, make it more efficient, cause less wear and tear and strain on the body as well. Isn't it interesting to think that it's free will, isn't it? We're able to walk or run in a way that completely, or if not completely, then in quite a large way destroys our body, when in fact a little bit of thought about technique or some expert help of this kind could really be a game changer. It's fascinating. Thanks, Coach Turner. Enjoy the rest of your day and evening. And tonight, maybe you're not going to get much sleep tonight. Are you going to have a nice little midnight feast or something like that in the tent that you've built out of cushions in the living room? Great fun. Mati, bon dia. Feliz quinta-feira para todos a partir de uma quinta entre águas chuvosas. So rainy over there where he's not feeling very well, poor old Matty. And bon dia, Gumpers. Feliz quinta a todos, como va todos. And how lovely. I was chatting with the gents this morning. Superb stuff. Mindful moment then from James. Thank you for these. There is a T-Duck vacuum again this morning. So pile in with your dad jokes, folks. But don't pile in with your pile joke. Well, your pile jokes are fine too as well. You've got to laugh. Otherwise, you'd cry, as some people do with that condition. A mindful moment to be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best night and day to make you everybody else means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight and never stop fighting. Wow, being nobody but yourself. That's E.E. Cummins, the author of Winnie the Pooh there in 1955. Amazing. Thank you very much for that. I'll just do that one more time. To be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best night and day to make you everybody else means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight and never stop fighting. And I suspect that's been harder or easier in various times throughout human history. I wonder if it was more difficult in 1955 than it is now. Ironically, we can self-express, can't we, or declare ourselves all sorts of things now, including cats and whatever. And yet still we have this conversation, don't we, about how difficult it might be to be ourselves. Fascinating stuff. And a mindful dad joke then from James as well. You should sit in meditation for 20 minutes a day. Unless you're too busy, then you should sit for an hour. Zen proverb. I don't have a little triangle bell, little dong sound. So instead you're going to get one of those to wake you out of your meditative slumber there, just in case you were dropping off and you needed a Zen tap on the shoulder. Thank you for that, James. That's no joke, says Matty, but very deep. Yes. Okay. So then we had a little bit of a chat about Pete and Diane and Matty having some maladies that they're struggling to shake off. So get well soon, all of you. And Joel Denault was in as well. Born the Algarve Gumpers at 8:27 before show start time. And I know there's a few extra new people. Numbers are going up. We're going into the new year with some new friends here. And maybe some old friends who've returned to the Good Morning Portugal show community, are Gumpers of various kinds, fully paid up and subscribing Gumpers, reluctant Gumpers, people who don't want to identify as Gumpers, but you actually are, if you're watching this. If you want to say hi or send a message, it's 913-590-303 on WhatsApp. And Joao Denault, a conversation last night by the sound of it. I heard a new term for expat immigrant last night. How about an inpat? My response to that was, how about cowpat for the nastier ones? And at least sun over in central Portugal is expected after 1 o'clock. We had a nice little bit of sunshine at the meetup yesterday. It was a small but perfectly formed gathering. Lovely to see you all there. And the sun did come out between the spots of rain, occasional rain, and a lovely little bit of sunshine. What a glorious moment that is when it's been dark and rainy, and then the sun comes out for a little while. So maybe a similar thing will be happening today. Good for his batteries, both physical and metaphorical, I suspect there. Can't possibly read that out about the Lisbon lads there, Pete, but thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, Bairandi is in, Pete's in. Is Philomena's honey a euphemism? No, no. And I'm not even gonna mention Europhasia because I don't even know what that is, and I suspect it's something filthy, Peter. Knowing you, the elephant in that room is, why haven't you got the style, panache, and frankly Portugueseness to get comb overs? Well, there's no point hurrying that. It will happen in time, won't it, Pete? Obviously, we shall see. Love it. Oh, you do love it. Okay, so we'll build this book a page at a time. There we are. Elephant no carto, na carto. And I think the first page should be us greeting each other, James, with our usual Monday morning effort. I was just thinking to myself, how do we get beyond that? How do we get beyond the idea of just saying hi? And that elephant in the room moment, the elephant in the room being, I don't know any more Portuguese. Not only do I not know any more Portuguese, beyond hello and how are you, that I'm willing to enter into here. But I haven't got the Portuguese to say that either. So we're going to break through that this year with our new book. I think we've got the official seal of approval then from James, who loves it. And we'll build that page. We'll build those pages one at a time, maybe week by week. And if we feel especially creative, we'll add some more. So send me some reaction photos. I know you're a very good actor, James. Did you tread the boards in California? I wonder. But we're going to have some fun doing that, I can see. And I'm glad we have your seal of approval for that. Well, I'm assuming that's what your love it means on the screen there. So excellent news. We shall proceed with that. Looking forward to that. And see you again next Monday for your mindful migration moment. Gary Mills also in. Bon dia all. It's finally stopped raining in Wales. I know the feeling. And love it. There we go. Love it. And Pete says elephants are very hairy. Well, you wouldn't expect anything less, would you? We have been the hairy elephant in the room. Now, that does sound like a euphemism. We have been told Google has had some significant events recently. Our links disappeared and our calendar as well. Google app needed updating frequently, perhaps reset in the pages as well. Okay, cheers, Bob. Thank you for that. That's some help with my Google. I do really like using Google Sites. It's very easy. And that's how I've built the Good Morning Portugal website. And I managed successfully to forward from 123 reg, goodmorningportugal.com. But it's proved not so easy when it comes to my new Love San Martino or Love SNDP website, which I'll just give you a very quick preview of here. I'll come back to those demographic things in just a moment. Yeah, there's me Love San Martino de Porto website, which no one can see at the moment. And I'm going to do a lot more on that because I love trying out different places here in San Martino de Porto. and writing little blog pieces. And actually, my Portugal resident piece last week and part 2 this week is about San Martinho de Porto syndrome, the town where I live that gave its name to the syndrome of having your head turned and your heart won by every new darn place you go to in Portugal. So there's the website, a rare glimpse of it until I can get me DNS settings and all that sort of stuff, which really just, I don't have fun at all dealing with it. I do try, but I just leaves a very bad taste in my it sticks in my craw technologically, basically. Lee McGrady, enjoying the conversation with you. And we're trying to get a certain gentleman on the show that it looks like the man cave have taken exception to. I think this fella who I hope to get on the show, whose name I forget now, is his name Thomas, his second name. He's like a life coach guy, a hippie guy. And I think he's basically scaring the man cavers because he's so fully embraced his free and easy hippie side. And the man cavers are a little bit threatened by him, but hopefully we'll get him on the show soon. Forgive me for forgetting his name, but it'll be great fun, I'm sure, when we get that chap onto the show. Good morning to you, Lee, in Lisbon. Feliz Ano Nuevo. A bit of Spanish there, isn't it? Amy and Greg, good morning to you. And it looks as foggy as an early 80s rock gig out there, Lee McGrady. Don't fancy yours much. And João Donato says, let's name the cockerel Galileo, as in Gallo is Portuguese for rooster. I'm going to go with that. Very good. Thank you very much. So his name is Galileo. And he's got his own song already, which is great, isn't it? You don't need to jumpstart them or pee around as they just start. I know you'll miss getting oiled up and calling a hunky. I've got my hunky mechanic. I'm hoping Don will strip down to the waist before he performs the jumpstart maneuver on my vehicle. Oh, yes, and you still owe us a Pooh Sticks video moment, Peter. Talking of E. Cummings and Winnie the Pooh, as we were this morning. And EVs can't be towed with a rope. They need a flatbed. Yeah, that's a little bit more serious, isn't it? If I was parked on a slope, I would even try the jump start. T-Duck suggested to me I use the ramp into the water, which would be very high risk here in San Martín de Porto. I do think he was joking. I hope he was joking. Not going to be trying that. Hola, all from Jess this morning. Good morning, Jess. How you doing? And did that get to you, João Donato? Seat 61. You were continuing your investigations into using Interrail and the railways of Europe. Seat 61 was Pete's recommendation to you. Suze is in. Good morning. Good to see you, Suze. And Colleen as well. Good morning, Colleen. Thank you for your comments over there on Come Back to Life. And when the banner covers the bottom bit of your elephant, it looks like several smudgy fingerprints there. Okay, I should bear that in mind. And we get past the greeting one page at a time, just like the 12-step approach to learning Portuguese. How about that? Okay, back to the demographics then. I want to show you something over on our homepage at Good Morning Portugal, which is also our news page, basically. Throughout the week, I gather a few news stories, and I send a little, what's it called? A condensation. That is not what it's called, but I send a little digest of news items that have caught my attention during the week to the Portugal Club members at the end of the week. And they are built throughout the week over on the homepage, which is here. And something that came to my attention yesterday that I've put up on there, which you can see at goodmorningportugal.com, is this. The population boom or bust, I've called it. And you can see the largest generations in each country, whether they, on the left there, and whether they are made up of baby boomers, Gen Xers or millennials. Very interesting that over here in the westernmost side of Western Europe, not including the UK and Ireland, but we are made up mainly of baby boomers here in Portugal, Spain and France, and as you move forward across Europe, you're seeing a lot more of that. And then with the exception, look up there, going more north in Europe to the UK, interestingly, Gen Xers mainly running the show. I don't know if there is a connection between that and the political situations of various countries, but I find that fascinating. And you have to, is that Sweden there? You have to get to Sweden. That's why I'm hesitating and faltering here, because I don't actually know what those countries are. But the blue ones with a baby on are ones with the largest generation is of millennials. And that must make a difference, mustn't it? I guess it's whether there are baby boomer, Gen X, or millennial politicians in those countries, whether old farts are running the show or not. But that's interesting stuff, which caused me to look further into the demographics of Portugal. And a little summary here, which you might find interesting. Between 2015 and 2080, and I know you're all suddenly thinking, well, I don't think I'm going to be around in 2080, but if you cast your mind forward to how things might be in this country, then according to the central scenario, Portugal, that sounds like something from a translation, doesn't it? Portugal will lose population from the present 10.3 down to 7.5 million residents. And do you remember the days when we used to be terrified about a population boom? We're looking at a population bust, aren't we, around the world for the future now? I know that Elon Musk is big on this. So down from 10.3 to 7.5 million residents and falling below the threshold of 10 million just in 2025, when hopefully a few of us will still be around. So it's going down. The population aged under 15 will decline from 1.5 million to 0.9 million, even considering increases in the total fertility rate. A decrease in the number of births still occurs due to the reduction of women of childbearing age, given the low fertility levels of the past years. The number of elderly will increase from 2.1 to 2.8 million, given the decrease of the young population, along with the increase of the elderly population. The aging ratio more than doubles from 147 to 317 elderly people for every 100 young people. And that is quite a staggering demographic situation when you think about it, isn't it? With the elderly people who need caring for and a working population to provide the taxes and funding for a care system. The aging ratio will only tend to stabilize in the 2060s, when the generations born in the context of fertility levels below the replacement. This is definitely translated from Portuguese, isn't it? When the generations born in the context of fertility levels below the replacement level enter the 65 and over age group. These trends will, in general, occur in all NUTS2 regions. That's not, so it's a NUTS2 region, something to do with fertility. Norte, Centro, Área Metropolitana de Lisboa, Alentejo, Algarve, and autonomous regions of Madeira and the Açores. The working age population will decline. Look at this. This is the big one, isn't it? I'm sure politicians, I know they generally think in 2 and maybe 1, 2 or 3 year cycles, 5 if you're lucky. But the working age population will decline from 6.7 to 3.8 million people in the period mentioned, which would be a terrible time to be presiding over the economy and politics. You're going to need some big ideas in those times. You can't just be a feather at your own nest career politician then. We're going to need some big solutions, aren't we, in those times? The potential sustainability ratio, number of persons aged 15 to 64 per 100 persons aged 65 and over, may decline sharply due to the decrease of the working age population, there you go, and the increase of the elderly population. And this ratio will drop from 315 in 2015 to 137 in 2080. That's over there on the Good Morning Portugal homepage if you want to have a look at that. And as well as after holding the number 1 position in 2023, as Antonio told us on Tuesday, Portugal now stands at number 2. Who doesn't like a good number 2 first thing in the morning? We are, I would say, we're a very good number 2, Portugal, and I'll talk more about that tonight at 9 o'clock when we look at safety, security, and sanity going forward here in Portugal, despite recent changes that have made it look perhaps less attractive to some foreigners. Impats. I'm going to be making the case that this is a great place to be, with a little bit of insight and strategy as to how you can maybe better ensure that might be the case. We've got, whilst we're here on the homepage, we've got a few GMP co-hosts looking forward to 24 from interviews later last year. And just very quickly, before I welcome the lads in Lisboa, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our mission for the year ahead here. So as we enter a new year of daily broadcasting and serving the Good Morning Portugal community, it's a good opportunity for us to review and simplify our intentions for the next 12 months. From our beginnings as an English language emergency information service during Portugal's COVID crisis, remember those days? Some of you were here. We have grown and evolved into a daily focal point for people who have a passion for Portugal, whether living here, visiting, or considering it as a home. We remain funded by professional consultancy fees, crowd-funded support, and subscriptions. Mwah, 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 to all of you who do that. Sponsorship and affiliate relationships, a model that has helped us maintain independence and build resilience, allowing us to focus on our key aims, which are connecting with more people, places, and products that represent and celebrate the wonder and flavour of Portuguese life. Number one for us, love Portugal. And 2 projects, talking of impats, cowpats, expats, foreigners, and immigrants. We want to develop the Portugal Immigrant Network further this year, and also develop the Expat Angel. That's the supporting Portuguese entrepreneurs. That project as well. Key aim for us this year. 23 was a great year where we also continued to host meetups, launched our Discovery Weekends, and decided, of course, that included the Englishmen, the Irishmen, and whoever else we met on our travels. And we decided to become a Portuguese company, which we're in the process of doing. And of course, inspired, supported, and encouraged countless people to take a look at and enjoy the life we love here. So there you go. There's a little bit about Good Morning Portugal for 2024. Let's remove that off the screen and give the fellas in Lisbon a nice big round of applause. Rapturous applause this morning. Hello, Fabrizio.
Morning. Hi there. Good morning. How are you?
Like Ant and Deck, swapping your names down on your labeling there.
How's everyone? Happy New Year, first off.
They got all sorts of coughs and colds and sniffles. And I mean, I guess a lot of these things are quite seasonal, aren't they? But I think everyone's doing pretty well considering. What about you two? How was your Christmas?
Well, thanks God it's gone. And
was that good, was it?
No, we've been to Rome to see my family. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the great test.
I just about recovered enough to go to Rome.
Oh, really? An Englishman in Rome for Christmas. Well, tell us a little bit about that. So, how is Christmas celebrated in Italy and particularly in Rome, then, for example?
Well, I guess the dynamic is all pretty much the same. We eat ourselves stupid, and there's quite a lot of kids in my family, so the noise level, the threshold just goes above the jet landing in a lounge, and the adults are equally as loud. My dad will say some dirty jokes.
Oh, excellent.
My mum will tell him off, and kind of that kind of stuff for 2 or 3 days. Yeah.
Wonderful. And have you got any translatable and possibly shareable Italian
not this time of morning,
no.
No. But on the evening show. No, they were bad in the 70s. Now that just I'm telling.
I'm just thinking of them sort of bunga bunga, a Berlusconi type humor.
No, that was even before. In the time of bunga bunga, some censorship came into place, but before it was just.
Wow. How many people then? How many people around that Roman table of yours on Christmas Day?
11 on the quietest night. So it was not that bad.
Oh wow!
Actually, it used to be the fact that we used to go to my aunt as well. I think the last time they all did that was about 16 or 17 people.
17, wow. And each one of them trying to
outtalk everybody else.
Yeah, that's one way, I guess, of getting heard, isn't it? It's just to shout louder than everybody else.
We don't do the passing stick, the talking stick. We don't do any of that. There's 25 sticks for 15 people. So.
In my mind, I have this little scenario of Italian family meets Native American family. Native American family says we have this great system where the person holding the stick can talk, and the Italian family just like, why would you want that? What?
No, we'll come with our own stick in the back. I got my own. Who gives
glad to be back in Lisbon anyway for a bit of peace. And looking forward to the new year. And you've been to Japan, of course, which we'll talk about. We've got a lovely little video from Japan that you made. What are your thoughts for... Actually, we should probably do that first. We'll do it chronologically, shall we? And let's have a little cast our minds back to your trip to Japan then. Can I play the video now?
Yeah. The video is quite random. It's nothing chronological in any order. It's quite, quite schizophrenic.
Yeah, a little bit of a summary of your time over there. It's very beautiful. Your video editing skills are coming on beautifully. So let's have a look at that. About a minute of video, and we'll talk about your time over there, and then cast our minds forward to see what Project Lisbon are up to in 2024. So here's the video from Japan, made by Fabrizio. Superb. I mean, it is another world, isn't it? Is this a long-held ambition to go there, or had you been there before?
Well, so I had a contract with a company that I've been working with for 20 years now, in Japan, on and off, little bits. And this was the last project that should have happened in 2020. Obviously, didn't happen for very obvious reasons.
Right. Yeah.
And so I got a couple of weeks' work, and then I said, actually, why don't we make it into a little trip if you fancy?
And I fancied.
And he fancied. Yeah. So we added bits onto it. So I sort of, did my couple of weeks' work, and then we added on the bits around. So yeah, that was the plan of it.
A little bit of work, a little bit of play, fantastic. I mean, it just looks so amazing. It just the culture is so different, isn't it? And
it is.
So Japanese, basically. Apparently, Portugal has the third oldest population in the world after Japan and Italy.
Yeah,
quite the connection there. You're the common link between these places.
Yeah,
I guess.
Between all of them. Actually, it's interesting though, going back to that thing that you were reading out, because what you realise in Japan is that they have no problems with age, so people just keep working. So there you will see, your street sweeper is probably 80.
Yeah.
And we saw a very funny video, the one on that lady she runs this place making, I don't know what she was making food all day. She's 82.
Yeah.
And then at night she's a DJ.
Yes, I've seen videos of her. Yeah, she's awesome, isn't she? Yeah.
But the whole culture has said that, people don't stop working, so people just carry on doing things, and therefore this notion of a retirement age and you're going to retire seems to have sort of disappeared. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of blended into, when you finally fancy to stop working, then you stop. And I think that's the only way it's kind of keeping going in the economy, because obviously
we'll have to, won't we? We'll just have to embrace that, because
it should be a free choice rather than a forced emergency situation. It should
and I think maybe we have to get over this thing of suddenly thinking, I'm about to retire, or I'm about to be this, or I'm about to be that. You just think, I'm still do things. If I can still feel I can be useful, then what does age matter?
Quite, and I think we will be forced to look at this, won't we? And come up with new solutions, because these demographic shifts are pretty profound. And it looks like Japan do have this head start if the culture is to keep working, and why not, really? But I guess you say, out of a dire economic necessity isn't the best circumstance for that. It's much better if it's a nice cultural touch rather than
necessity.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, that's been the big, I suppose, letdown for people, isn't it? Is the 40-year plan. And this is, in many ways, we're talking about baby boomers. It does symbolize the age of the baby boomer, doesn't it? Where they got a job when they were teenagers, maybe went on to tertiary education, became professionals, or some kind of trade for their whole life, possibly one job for your whole life. I mean, no one does that anymore, do they? But that was their world, wasn't it? What you pick something that you would do for the rest of your working life, and you would retire from it on a full salary pension if you were lucky to be looked after for the rest of your life, which seemed like such an amazing. It's the American dream as well, of course, I think, isn't it? Yeah. And that would have lasted, I don't know. I mean, people first would have enjoyed that in the 50s and 60s, and then it seemed to come to we realized it probably wasn't going to be sustainable in the 80s and 90s. And there are a few lucky people, aren't there, on full salary pensions, and the people who've been wise and created big pension pots and so on. But it doesn't look like that's going to be a historical, mythological thing in these coming decades.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be, because I mean, it's just unaffordable to say then everybody, even on a private pension of some description, at some point there's got to be, cash has to be there. Going on.
And also, working life were dotted with milestones, like people were even on an average salary, they will buy their own property, they will have one kid, and then they will have two kids. I'm talking about obviously heterosexual, but couples at the time, which are now unsustainable, really. That's why the decline in population. Where fertility rates and nut stuff and all the other stuff they but the reality is also it's very hard to be a young professional and be able to say that you will be able to get your own property and look after your kids, and then maintain their school requirement and all the other stuff. So I guess it's a shift in society.
And we're going to need some new ideas, aren't we? We really are going to need some new ideas. Because the old ones, we can't just keep flogging this dead horse of the old dream. So it's got some interesting times ahead. So on that note, what are you guys thinking business wise, and even personally for 2024? I take it you're still happy living in Lisbon and
yes, of course we are.
Yeah,
of course we are. We're quite reluctant to do New Year resolution. Or
fair enough.
Because it's a bit unpredictable.
It flips in a second. And also, I think I always thought about New Year's resolution that it exudes you from renewing yourself a little bit every day. So you either say, okay, from now on or from now ahead, or I'll wait for doing this because in the new year. So I try to wake up and have this renewal or energy every day. I'm not that inspired or renewed every day, but I try to, I do my best. I put the legwork in. And so we don't have a massive looking forward to 2024 view. Professionally, we're trying to deliver more and more in a changing market because obviously the interest in Portugal has shifted with the shift in politics, and I don't think it's gone either worse or it's just different, and so we are. So I think the field that we're working in, and we see the interest going up above and beyond Lisbon. So it's also quite a good thing for us to look beyond what we knew. And we grow every day.
I think as well, we're trying to pedal a bit more around what we've been saying to people, in so much, especially if you're coming for the visa or all that kind of thing and you need properties. I think a lot of people have an expectation of what they already want. And I think we mentioned this on the show before. We're trying to push people back to say, well, maybe you should start to be here for a bit first. And then decide really what you want. So perhaps not this like the most fabulous property you've ever seen that's got this and that and the other, blah, blah, blah. Let's just get you here first and then decide. Because there's a lot of disappointment around that. And as you've probably noticed as well, that there's a lot of bad press coming out about Portugal, which I don't think it's not correct because it isn't like that. I mean? It's the fact that people aren't recognizing that their view of it was because they watched 500 YouTube videos and everybody said it's wonderful.
Don't
hopefully all of them mine. But
if it was yours, it would have been fine. But the kind of
the 5 points. 5 bad points
somewhere on the road.
That's right. I'm definitely. You see this clickbait. Definitely leaving Portugal because Portugal sucks. And then by the end of the video, the guy's actually staying, and he's bought 5. He's bought 5 more houses, in fact, and invested in.
Exactly.
But it's not
good.
Also,
I think we are adding more and more the fact what is the dynamic behind the creation of our own business. Yours, as you say, the Good Morning Portugal was born in time of COVID. So were we. When visiting a place and and having a view on a place on a personal point of view was impossible because traveling was not into play. So we're growing and growing more in the perspective of what we were born of, which is 2 people living a life experience. I've done a few things when they didn't know much about anything, and then we get to know some stuff that we provide as a service. We cannot really help you much on your 0.275 growth investment on your property, right? Because we don't know that stuff. But there's plenty of people that knows all that, stuff. But if you want to know how it works,
if you want to come to retire, or if you want to come over here for that,
if you want to live by a school, and if you know which school is better, and you want to walk your dog and sit on the street getting drunk, I mean, we can help you with that.
I'll help with that as well. And I admire, and I think you're wise to pivot in the way that you are. And it's alarming in a way, isn't it, to think that we have distinct periods of evolution and development, even in this tiny time frame that we've known each other and have been working on this. We are definitely moving out of the well, we're in the post-COVID, but even in just like these 2 or 3 years, I think we're on the threshold of a big change. And that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight at 9 o'clock, is how we might prepare for that change. This it was, as I was thinking about it in terms of a slide presentation, I was thinking of Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music as symbolizing the glory days of the D7 visa and people retiring on a D7 and coming and bagging themselves a really sweet little property in Portugal. It's not really like that. I mean, it can still happen, but it's not exactly like that anymore, is it? The hills are alive with the sound of music and just frolicking through the pasture anymore. Things have changed. And people have to look at this. I think they can still enjoy the same quality of life, but they might have to approach it and be aware of different criteria and have different strategies. For
perhaps it is getting. Yeah, perhaps it is getting more towards the lifestyle as well being a choice, because what you tend to notice as well with these things, and I noticed it because I was watching a very funny video the other day. You remember there was always once upon a time, there was always like, can you go and live somewhere in the world for like $1,000 a month?
Yes.
Which are now gone up to 15 or 20,000.
What are those?
But what was strange about it was the fact that as they were doing this, they were saying, oh, you go to this country, you used to be able to live there, but now that's too expensive. This is the next place to go in that country because of this.
Yes.
And so there's one side of it which says it's been financial, you know what I mean? So your choice has been, this is what I can afford, therefore now this is my new list. Irrespective of what the lifestyle's like, anything like that, you go and live in, I don't know, somewhere in the Arctic Circle without realizing it, just because that fits your price bracket, and then you realize you hate snow when you get there. So it is about sort of saying, perhaps we should try and force people to say, but think about the lifestyle that you want, and is this going to be appropriate here, or is this not going to be appropriate here? That should be coming into play now, and not just saying, oh, I can't live in Lisbon anymore because it's too expensive. I can't live in Portugal. You know what I mean? Just wandering around the world, finding somewhere that fits your price bracket.
Yeah, we're not really. We never. I don't think we've ever been. We never even attempted to be financial or economic consultants. We don't do that. Mm-hmm. With two people that happen to know the dynamic of living in a place where you were not born. Or living in a place where you haven't lived before from very early age, very from very early age. So is a dynamic that we put into place, and I guess I think
I would describe you as culture coaches then, really, and helping people to adjust to the culture.
Yeah, or just saying this is what it's going to be. Because,
realistically, we cannot help anyone with how it would be then to thinking about moving to Costa Rica. Yeah. Because I would like to visit Costa Rica, but I've never been, and I don't know, and I never lived there. But I'm here now. I packed my suitcase one day, and here now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think safe to say then that the premises. The proposition is changing fundamentally, and going back to, bringing all of this whole conversation together. I think given that the glory days of skipping through the pasture with a D7 in hand are coming to a close, and it's been quite a small window, and it's been great fun. I think people may need to look, as you were saying about Japanese elders. People might come here and work in the sense they might not be retiring. They might not be. It might not be the climax of their 40-year plan. People may think about coming to Portugal and continuing to either put themselves to work or put their money to work, and not have a retirement mindset so much, and have a more active and dynamic use of their resources for investing in their life in Portugal. Certainly that's what I'll be talking about this evening, because I think that's the way forward.
And I think also in a way that you invest in your own life in the country that you're moving into, like we all do here. You come with a mind frame that, yes, it's true that it's quite beneficial to have a bit of tax rate, to be not doubly taxated twice, and all the other, from your own country, from the country that you live in. But all this skipping taxes through this system or through this dynamic or you will then realize that, looking ahead, you will be an individual living here, needing an hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And your taxes will channel to. So it can also be the serenity of saying, is like any of us three and many other people out there, they live here, work here, pay their taxes, happy to know. We had a problem with Ian's health the other time, and then yes, it's true, we waited 7 hours in A&E. We did wait for 7 hours. Well, we had all the assistance that we possibly had, scan through scans and all the other stuff. So it's just looking also ahead of the person that you are now and you're able to do, and also your life ahead, the person that you will be and the things that you will need and the thing that you do for yourself and for others. And that's the story.
Yep. So, I think I'll take from that we are shifting then from the retirement and taking something from the culture to more to investing in the culture in the broadest sense of the word. So we'll talk more about that tonight at 9. Do join us for that. We've got some comments coming in about baby boomers, demographics and so on, and serving suggestions for Japan. I don't know what a soap house is. We might find out. Keeping in mind that baby boomers are post-World War II babies, I'm wondering if that has a role in the age distribution in Europe as it does in the US. It's fascinating once you start looking, as I did briefly yesterday, James. And João de Nort's got his Seat 61, which sounds like it's helpful for interrailing across Portugal and Europe. It also gives details on interrailing at Seat 61 and every conceivable train journey. I used to use it all the time. If you want anything more luxurious, like lottery trains, what are they? I have a contact who specializes in luxury train travel. Wow, who has still lots of contacts, but for proper trains, Seat 61 is awesome. Thanks for that, Pete. Much appreciated. Hoping to still be around in the 2050s, but beyond that would be world record age territory. And I guess that's why we don't look at these things sometimes, is because we realize we might not be part of it. So for the future generations, I will be offering a bossort and a loving way. Well, that's a lovely gesture. Thank you for that, James. Yes, so when in Rome, did you literally do as the Romans did? I think they did. Rome was dead quite a few years ago when we went for Christmas. Sure, it wasn't like Fabrizio's household. Well, it was quiet. Presumably everyone was at home.
Everybody is.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like that here, as I recall. Stephen White with a mysterious message.
Yeah, it's twice, so it's 2 hands, Stephen. So it should be improved.
Or is that I thought it was Bugs Bunny's teeth, maybe. I don't know. Did you guys try out a soap house or a love hotel when you're in Japan? You don't have to answer that because I don't even know what that is.
A soap house, I don't know what it is. A love hotel, no, because there's not just your love going around, but there's every other people's love creeping through, upholstery and all the other things. So no, and also we don't really love each other that much.
Give over. Is it a strange place? It is a strange place where only 25% of Japanese have passports, despite it being the best passport in the world, and only 2% foreign population. That was the immediate impression I got when I saw your lovely video. It is another world, isn't it? We can't apply. You can't really apply your own Western mindset to it, can you? You just have to receive it as it is. Is that what you would recommend to people going to Japan? Don't try and pigeonhole it.
Yeah, no, it's completely different to anything. Because you wander around Europe and there are differences, but there are not that many differences. And you go there, even comparing with other countries in Asia, actually, Japan is very unique. In its own way compared with other bits that we've been to in Asia.
It's very. I would just say it's very historical, but very futuristic at the same time. And it's the duality. And it's an incredibly beautiful country to travel. Very easy to travel. People is incredibly helpful and kind, and it's clean. And the interaction between people is quite interesting. I think it's the only place that we were talking with someone else, and they say, it's the only place in Japan where you will not find a rubbish bin on the street, but there will not be a piece of paper anywhere. And then we live in Lisbon and there's rubbish bins everywhere, and sometimes the
Condoms.
everywhere.
Isn't that funny? Yes, it tells you something, doesn't it? That it's not about hostilities necessarily. It's about the mindset, isn't it? Yeah, very fascinating.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to break through into having Japanese friends, says Pete. To me, I see a lot of, if not similarities, then kind of mirror imaging of Portugal and Japan. I think that, and of course there is the historical connection. I have a few mates that have been there for over a decade, and every day they are treated as tourists.
I believe that's something that happens.
Because there's not an understanding of, well, he's opened up quite late, didn't he? Because I think it was only just before the war, after the war, I can't remember, where Japan actually allowed foreigners to be coming in at all, did any?
What a fascinating concept.
The ancient country that's quite new for many things. What has changed in the time I've been there, though, is tourism now is big. And that has really had a big impact. So I think people are now more used to seeing foreigners than they were, 10 years ago. Because
they don't rush up to you and touch your face anymore.
No.
It's a shame.
It is, isn't it? I get that in Portugal. The downside to the aging population and workforce is the extreme shortage of populations of young ones. As I understand it, it's a big problem in Japan. Hope you guys went to plenty of yakiniku bars. Definitely my favorite place to eat lovely skewers and squishing. Presumably refectory style eating and getting close to people in the and having a bit of skewer action there. Ciao por agora, meus amigos, até amanhã. I think going off to research more trains there. We'll have Alyson Sheldrake joining us in a moment. She has a little bit of an internet nightmare, I think, this morning, but she'll be with us and we'll be previewing Snapshot magazine, the January edition. So no hurry, Ali. I can see you're figuring it out behind the scenes there. Just give us a wave when you're ready. No hurry. We're having a lovely.
You see, the gentleman is João. The gentleman was mentioning trains.
Yes, João de Norte.
So for your own, we've been on a Hello Kitty bullet train, João. So,
hold on a minute. There is a Hello Kitty train.
Yeah. The Hello Kitty Shinkansen.
Really?
The bullet train, yeah. Everything is Hello Kitty. It's got fancy bows everywhere. And she's there with a little uniform.
Oh,
amazing.
Is there a Pokemon train as well? Because I was talking about Pokemon with
no, there's a Thomas, the tank engine train, which goes.
Tank engine very big in Japan.
Very big.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it goes all the way around the
main loop.
Fushi-san.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So presumably you were very shocked and saddened to see the earthquake that happened, of course.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. Also because we travel quite a lot in the Noto area.
Yeah,
so where the epicenter is.
My goodness, it's just absolutely terrifying, isn't it? And then the airport crash as well. Horrible situation. So lots of love to all our Japanese friends. Not that we have many, but we are sending love from Portugal to Japan at this time. I miss Japanese restaurants and bento boxes in particular with miso, tempura, teriyaki, sushi, and salad. It's not something I've learned how to miss, miso soup. I think therefore I must find a good one day. Have you found a good miso soup? Do you like miso soup?
We bought and we bought a very good one made of powdered mushrooms too.
Okay, all right.
In a market in Takayama.
I'm going to keep looking with that. All right. Paul Richards, who's not happy with us sending him rain in the Algarve, I don't think. Politicians cannot get it right now. What makes you think their crystal balls will be any better 60 years on, even with AI? Yeah, fair point. And there are 3 luxury trains in Japan from $6,000 to $28,000 a night. You enter these are the lottery trains. You enter a lottery to get a ticket. They are amazing, though. Pete knows a thing or two. He's like he's our very own Simon Calder. Bleach in this community. Now, before we go to Ali, I did promise that we would look at the top 10 selling cars. Let's see how many Japanese cars there are with this. What's it like? Given that Japan is so futuristic, was that obvious with the cars and the transport over there?
We laugh actually because in the cars they have these little box cars. They're really strange. They're all very, very boxy. They're all quite square. There's none of the sort of typical.
aerodynamic design.
friendly.
No, everything is like a shoebox with wheels, but they're fantastic to convert. There's a YouTube channel that we watch all the time because we're insane. Yeah, of this girl that converted one of the small boxy car in a camper van, and she travels all around Japan, and everything fits in a box and the other thing. So I suggest her. I will post a link.
Yes, please. Okay, so we'll do this quickly then, because we'll bring Ali on and test her internet connection. Top 10 car brands in Portugal in 23 were the following. So Peugeot, Renault, Mercedes-Benz, all European in the top. If they are still European, I don't know the names are. If not the actual vehicles, Dacia. I don't know who makes the Dacia. The BMW, the Volkswagen, Toyota, there, Japanese, and Tesla at number 8, Citroen at 9, and Seat at 10. That's Spanish, isn't it? So not many Japanese cars there. It's going to be an interesting time, I think, the next decade for vehicles. And apparently, Antonio also adding, because Michael was saying it's good to see that at least 10% were EVs, electric vehicles. In 23, 95,000, over 95,000 electric vehicles, including full electric, hybrid, and electric trucks were sold in Portugal. If we talk just about cars, over 50%, 51.9% of all new cars were electric, hybrid, or biofuel, LPG, or biofuel. So an interesting picture. Portugal quietly leading the way there in the way things are predicted to go. Thank you very much for that, Antonio F. over at GMP VIP. Are you going to stay with us, Fabrizio and Ian, as we preview Snapshot Magazine? Excellent stuff. So let's give her a nice big round of applause and bring her on to the screen. Hello, Ali.
Hi, Ali.
Hey,
Applause is very loud.
okay.
Quite right. We can hear you. Yeah, how are you? What's been going on for you?
Well, we've lost our, we have Fibra internet, and it's gone this morning. I think it's because of the rain, probably. So, so I'm on my phone. So I'm hoping you can hear and see me okay. So,
See, absolutely fine. Yeah. So well done. Thank you for improvising so brilliantly. And so it would appear in certain parts of the Algarve, the fibre is down this morning. So thank you, for figuring it out. Nonetheless, how are you, Ali? How was your Christmas, and what are you looking forward to in this new year?
Oh gosh, well, we don't do a lot for Christmas. I must admit, we're not big Christmas fans, so we just had a nice quiet day. Dave actually worked New Year's Eve. He was asked by the Freguesia at Lagoa to be the official photographer for their New Year's Eve celebrations. So he worked, and I went. So it was fine. But he was really, really proud to be asked, and it was a really good event. Live bands, obviously the fireworks at midnight. So he really enjoyed that. It was quite an honour to be asked to do that. So that was good. And it's actually our wedding anniversary on New Year's Eve. So we're going to celebrate another day.
You got married on New Year's Eve.
We got married. We were the last couple in Devon to be married in the last millennium. Apparently, we didn't plan that, but wait, you remember Millennium Eve and all the what we're going to do on Millennium Eve when everyone was thinking about partying. We've been together for quite a while, and the kind of funny story is that we kind of went, well, why don't we get married? Because at least then it's our day and we're doing something we want to do. That'll bring back some memories for you, Carl. Do you remember Holden Tower?
I do. Yes, you were married there.
We got married there, yeah. It was, but we got contacted by local press when we came back off our honeymoon, and found out that they obviously researched who were the last couple in Devon, and it was us to get married.
Wow.
So,
in a fairy tale castle as well. It's absolutely beautiful there. I've driven up around there and thought to myself, I wonder who's got married here. And now I know. I found out some 10 or more years later.
It's a folly, Belvedere Tower, and it literally is completely circular, and it's got this wonderful circular staircase that goes up to the top room, which is windows on all sides. Nice wooden floor, and it was beautiful. We just had our own kind of ceremony. We got a celebrant there, and it was lovely. It was just what we wanted, which was really nice, just surrounded by friends. Yeah, it was good. It was a really.
And where
nice
did you go for your honeymoon? Just finally on that note, where did you go to after that?
We went to South Africa. We did Cape Town for 3 weeks, which was amazing. Absolutely loved it there. It was really, really good. But the funny story, and I'm going to stitch Dave up because it's great, is we literally went planning all this wedding, and we got to about the September, and I went, you haven't actually asked me yet. A girl does actually like to be asked. He went, tickets to Venice, and he went literally down on one knee in St Mark's Square, proposed. The most romantic. It was lovely. But then, just to ruin this story, we went round the corner to a cafe in the evening for a meal straight after getting engaged. And the table next to us were 5 women from Chile. They were amazing. They were mums and daughters. And we got chatting to them. And I literally popped to the loo, came back, and the 5 women were sat there around the table holding roses. One of them had a rose in her teeth. Oh, your man, he's so beautiful. He buys us all flowers. And I'm like, where's mine? And he went, oh, I forgot you. I went running across the Market Square and bought an armful of flowers. I'm like, it's too late, mate, too late. 10 minutes ago, you proposed to me, and there you are. You forget me. It was quite funny.
Chilean bridesmaids. How lovely. Fantastic.
Oh, they were lovely. They were a really nice family. But it was just so funny. I'm like, where's mine?
Yes, right. Okay.
That story live now. He'll kill me later, but never mind.
Yeah, well, good luck later on. Thank you for sharing that, though. How lovely. The Fairy Tale Tower and the last people to be wed in Devon of the millennium. Fantastic. We are having a look at Snapshot magazine. There's your front cover. An interesting one. Is that one of those fantastic sculptures in the Algarve there of a man on a bicycle?
Do you remember? I think it was the November issue. He's called Carlos Correa. And he's
There's plenty of them in Algarve, I think.
Yeah, there's loads. He's done loads. I think there's some in Lisbon as well, but he's literally across the Algarve. His work is stunning. But Dave literally just happened to go up to, it's his foyer, which is Monchique, the highest point in the Algarve. Right on the top is this new sculpture, and I thought it was stunning. And the sky, Dave, that's the sky. That was what was there that day when Dave photographed it. But isn't it stunning? It's a very clever guy, that sculptor. Really good.
Yeah, and they're characterized by they're sort of perforated metalwork, aren't they? Quite superb.
Bolts and screws and
just look like rivets and stuff. Yeah.
So thank you very much for putting us together our very own Good Morning Portugal edition of Snapshot magazine. This is for January 24, and you can get yours in the link that I have published on the ticker tape at the bottom of the screen. And we start as usual, and quite rightly, with some of Dave's photography here. These are real people, right? So we've got this pixelated girl on the left. That's makeup, is it?
It's makeup, isn't it stunning? And costume. It's the living style. This Viva Chantal. They travel around Portugal, but they always come to Lagoa for one weekend before Christmas. And for us, it's the start of Christmas. So I promised pictures this month. There's about 20 pictures in this month's edition in total, because I can't resist them. I mean, they are stunning. They're some of them are complete tableaus that don't move at all. Others interact slightly with the audience that walk past them. They're all out on the street, but the costumes and the makeup and the hours they must spend putting this together is incredible. But yeah, the pixel lady was incredible, because her whole outfit all the way down through all these, as if she's been, created on the internet. It's fantastic.
What great idea. The AI girl, fantastic. And so these are in Portuguese, the Estátuas Vivas no Natal, the living statues of Christmas, of course, and Lagoa. And this is an annual event there, isn't it? And this gentleman on the right here, is he a known historical figure or a sort of generic one?
I think generic as just an author-writer. I think he was just called the writer, if I remember rightly. I'll talk.
He has that kind of knowing look on his face.
The moustache and everything. I mean, it's just. I love this guy. We find him every year. They've got to know us, some of the actors now, but he always stands out for me because his personality comes through the costume fantastically well.
It does. I had a few teachers who looked like that, and.
You didn't do your homework.
One minute they'd be like that, like a statue. Next minute you'd be kind of a board rubber flying towards you. Oh, and they're so good, aren't they? How they make themselves look like the bronze, but not only bronze, but bronze statues where people have touched the nose of the bronze statue and shone it up a little bit, like this fella here on the right.
I mean, aren't they? They're just amazing. I mean, the lady on the left was pushing a pram with a baby in it that was also all kind of made up out of I don't know, how do they make it? Is it paper mache or is it hardened? I must try and find out how they actually make their costumes, because they're incredibly detailed. They're absolutely beautiful.
She's like Portuguese Mary Poppins.
She could be, couldn't she? Yeah, I think so. Is there a Portuguese Mary Poppins? I'm not sure.
We will find out, I'm sure. So great photos, Dave, and brilliant work from these living statue folks. And I imagine it's the big event that they all want to be at of the year, isn't it? In the Algarve there. Superb stuff, and many more photos of that kind in the current edition, January edition of Snapshot magazine. So we always like to go for a beach trip with Dave as well. So where have we been? Where are we going in this particular episode here, this edition?
You've got quite a few. The first two on the left are Amado Beach, which is one of our local beaches. And I mean, look at the rock formations there. The history that comes through on these beaches is just incredible, isn't it? It's wonderful to see. And Dave caught some really good sunsets. This time of year is brilliant for sunset work as well. But yeah,
well,
and then you.
I mean, you get them to yourself as well by the look of it. I mean, I know they'll be busier at other times of the day, right? But you are sport for choice, and you can get some peace and quiet on these Algarve beaches, can't you?
Yeah. Often the only one walking onto the beach when everyone else is coming off, because he literally wants to catch sunset. Around here, quite a lot of people sit on the cliffs. If you go down to Sagres, I think virtually every night people congregate on the top of the cliffs to see the sunset, because it's the last point in the west, you know, where the sun's going to set, and they always cheer when the sun drops down. But if you hit smaller beaches, I mean, the one top right there is an Amarera, which is one of our local. It's a river beach as well. It's beautiful. And then you've got Castellejo, which is another local Western Algarve beach again. But look, again, for me, it's the rock formations as well. Aren't they just incredible? It's beautiful.
Well, that one there, it would appear to be a castle on the rocks, wouldn't it? And it's just the way the rocks are formed there. Superb.
Yeah.
Hence its name.
I always think I always think there's like a monster on the right. The right hand two of the bits that jut out. I don't know if we can zoom in enough. It always looks like a Herman type character to me. You can. It's amazing.
I can't get in close enough to see that, but I see what you mean.
Aldo, wasn't it, the artist who used to find faces in like fruits and rocks and trees and all sorts of things? So I think I've inherited that from.
Yes, well, lovely photos, Dave, of the beaches down there in the Algarve, and we are in the studio now. We'll look at artists as well in Snapshot magazine. Who have you been chatting with, or who have you discovered here, Ali?
Oh, she's local. She's a Lagos artist, and she's fantastic. I really like her. She's South African, but lives here now. It's a new feature I'm starting every month, where I actually kind of, nose around the studio and have a chat and really try and find out the creative process behind somebody's artwork. That's what interests me, really. What makes them paint? Why do they paint? And how do they actually create things? Now, Samantha's fascinating because she does lots of mural work. And some of it, you can see the size. I mean, you can see those lockers with the sunflowers on top. The size of her work. She's up on step ladders working. But I was fascinated. One of the things that really I was impressed at with her is she uses acrylics, but she only uses the three primary colours, and white and black. That's it. So she mixes all of the colours, which I'm always in awe of. I have drawers full of different colour paints for me. I like to just grab a cadmium red and get going. But she'll actually mix all her colours, which I was really interested by.
And we've got the hoopoe bird. I mean, I'd never seen one of those until I came to Portugal. And the storks, of course, are the great. I guess that is your signature bird in the Algarve, isn't it? The stork. Great work, Ken. Yeah, you were mentioning there how people's creative processes differ. I visited the factory of a guy who's makes prefabricated steel frame buildings, and it was the tidiest workshop I'd ever seen in my life. You know, it was a poetry. It was a thing of beauty how tightly he ran this ship with other people as well, but possibly Japanese ethics coming in again here, having talked about Japan this morning. But artists do vary, don't they? Some people work in absolute chaos and others have a very clean studio. What's your view on that as an artist, Ali?
I think we're all different. I'm the clean studio person. I literally have all my colours and my paints in drawers, and I can literally know exactly if I want to get a particular yellow ochre, I can open a drawer and there it is. I know exactly where it is. I couldn't cope. I have to have, if I'm writing, the desk has to be tidy. If there's mess behind me, I have to tidy it up before I can start working. I think there's something about the psychology of having everything clean and fresh and in place for me that means I can then create. Whereas other people absolutely love the chaos all around them. I've interviewed an artist this month who works with seashells, and she preps them in the kitchen, then she goes and washes them in the bathroom in an apartment, and then she comes into the lounge and causes chaos in the lounge by the sound of it. She spreads everything out and then has to see everything on the floor before she can then choose which particular shell she's going to work with. And I'm like, oh, that would just, I can feel myself shuddering at the thought of all of that mess around me. It's just, yeah.
I'm just feeling Lego going into the bottom of my foot in the living room, the same sort of vibe. Fabrizio is becoming quite the prolific and talented video editor. Are you guys creative as well, would you say? Do you have a studio there in Lisbon?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
I'm less creative, but he is.
Yeah. Well, I went to art school in Accademia delle Arti in Rome, so that was that was my form. And then I worked as a designer in various things up until now. I'm an interior designer for whoever wants my services. I put it out there, but now I'm branching into filmmaking. You know,
you are. I noticed this. We maybe need to get you as an executive director on one of our Englishman and Irishman projects.
That's it.
So your medium is what, textiles? Is it? Is that what you made?
Mine.
Yeah.
Well, I tried a lot of them too. I also used textile as a medium when I trained as an upholsterer. So I did the furniture with an art taken to it. I mean, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know this about you. So you're an estufador. I think that's an upholsterer in
Estufador, sì.
Estufador, okay.
Yeah, but I used to make them hollow and build things inside and landscapes and all the stuff. You can see.
Come on, send us some photos. Send us some photos.
Yeah, and I use a lot of African textiles and all the other stuff. So I used fabric as a medium then. Ian bought me a sewing machine one point, and I do sew a few stuff badly here and there, but I wouldn't say it's my medium. I collage, I do some digital art, I paint.
Do you? Wow, okay.
And less and less. I do ceramics too. I do all this, yeah.
Incredible. I'm glad I asked. Okay. You might get featured in Snapshot one of these days.
Please, can I be featured in Snapshot?
Well, you're not Algarve based, are you? But who knows?
No, I'm not. But I can travel.
No, that doesn't matter. I'll be in touch with you, young man.
Thank you so much. I can make it into a nice presentation video, with music.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, show reel incoming. Sausages, everybody. Is this the first barbecue of the year here, Ali?
Well, it might not for me. It isn't. It's far too cold out there at the moment. No, this is little village Carenza, which is near Lule. They're one of the first festivals of the year. They do a sausage festival. So that's them grilling, and it's they have. I love it because they're all local sausages. So I don't know particularly why they want to go in early January, but they do.
Well, who doesn't like the sausage festival first thing in the morning or the year for that matter? So there you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's coming in a couple of weeks' time, isn't it? Literally.
Yeah, I think it's the 20th, 21st of January this year. So it's whatever nearest the 18th of January. It's in Festival for São Luís, St. Louis.
Now there's you were just about to say what you look for the protector of animals. Now there's an irony there, isn't there? There's the
side by side photograph, yeah.
He didn't protect those animals by the look of him or them. Okay. And out and about with Zara, where are you here?
Oh, well, remember I did the book fair last month? We sent Dave out. One of his favourite places. We went to the Fontage near Estumba, and he went there and he went to Grinia. So he took her out and about. I just amused at the jaunty angle of his photograph on that shot, so I had to put it in. It's like,
the fence is looking good there. It's one of those sort of ornamental fences, because that's not stopping anything, is it? It's just a kind of boundary marker, presumably. How was the book festival?
Yeah, I think it's to stop parking. That's about it. But yeah, look, the pictures here. It's one of my favourite places in the Algarve. Not that many people know about it. If you want to go for a barbecue, this is the place to go, because they actually have communal barbecue spots there. So you just bring your coals and your food, and everyone tends to share as well, which is really nice. But they've got this fantastic amphitheatre that they do events in as well, isn't it? It's stunning, isn't it? It's just a beautiful walk along the Arada River, but it's really quiet, tucked away. Really like it there. It's a good one.
Very Portuguese, very Portuguese. You're thinking this place is going to be packed, and you in the week time you're going to get it to yourself, I think, as you stay there. And the communal barbecue thing in this country is absolutely fantastic, and that's a great place to experience it. Thank you, Ali. If you need to come back to this, you can find it in the current edition of Snapshot magazine, the January issue. And look at little Toffee here. What's going on with Toffee?
Oh, another little dog that needs, you know me, I'll always share the dog that needs rescuing. That's always an important one to me. So this one, bless, lovely dog, really, really sweet. I'm just trying to find the page because I can't look at the screen, obviously, on my phone. So give me a second. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, no worries.
They don't know anything about her at all, other than she was left at the gates one morning, but she had a uterine infection, and they were really lucky. They took her to the vets and found it out quickly enough and got it all treated and sorted. So she's got a big dog, but she's, apparently she's quite quiet, but she has an opinion, they've described her as. So I'm guessing she's quite chatty and barky.
I see. Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. A typical mix, probably a bit of a dingo in there by the looks of it, but lovely girl, really sweet. Needs a home, as they all do. But
and I like the question there. Good with cats? Unknown. You're going to find out.
We'll find out soon.
And yes, and a lovely little out and about with Zara there, finishing with a nice formal portrait. That's a beautiful picture, isn't it? Excellent.
Yeah, you just sat in the back of the car waiting to get out. That's what she's after. She loves her walks.
Oh, now this might be a bit of inspiration, Fabrizio here. That's some Madonna comes to mind for some reason there, and some very interesting ceramic work. What are we looking at here, Ellie?
Well, I love these five. They're five friends who all live near each other in the Algarve, and they've created their own kind of little collective community as artists together. The Kinta Collective. They're brilliant. They're all very different, very talented artists. Jessica Dunn is Clive Dunn's daughter. Who
really?
I love her. She's a really fantastic lady. Clive Dunn fell in love with the Algarve back in the 60s. So I think her and I think all her family now live out here as well, permanent. But Jessica's a really, really good. I think. Yeah, I did share top left on the pictures there.
You introduced me to her, didn't you? When you did one of your book launches, she came along, and I remember now about the Dunn family.
Yeah, she's fantastic, really talented artist. I love her work. And then the one you think Madonna like is Andrea Bird. She does shimmery 3D sculptures using lots of mosaic and tiles. Really fantastic.
These are some seriously talented women here. This is incredible work, isn't it?
I know. And look at those sculptures. That's Toyin Adams. Her work is huge, big pieces of sculpture that you can see there as well. Fantastic. And then you've got a portrait artist and a fibre artist. So another one for the boys there. It's Jane Roddenberg. She's does a load of work with fibre, mixed media paintings. Really good. But they're just. I love their story that 5 of them got together and they all support each other and they promote each other and do exhibitions and events together. They're really good.
Yeah,
really good.
What is that bottom right hand corner? Because I'm thinking that might be a sort of mosaic glittery cod piece that I would wear on the right occasion. What is that down there?
It's another one of their sculptures. If you look closer, it's all mosaics. There's a heart with wings coming out the side.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how big that one is. I'd have to try and find out for you. But
thank you. If you wouldn't mind, that'd be great. So we're going.
Imagination, much more fun.
Relish magazine. I think I see a bacalhau a brush there, but done in a sort of very contemporary styling, right? With some lovely ceramics going on there too.
Yeah, it's not actually bacalhau. It's a take on it. It's actually frango. It's with chicken. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So chicken and egg in this. Yeah. So which do you cook first, the chicken or the egg for this particular recipe?
You have to check on look online on that one. I'm pretty sure you would do the chicken first, mate. You've got to saute.
I like that. I do like the look of that. I would eat that. And if you want to go veggie, is the suggestion here of Ivan. Replace the chicken with portobello or oyster mushrooms. That looks lovely. Cats questions then.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here? How many cats in the picture? It's like a little guessing game. Is it just 2 or is there another one hidden in?
Yeah, there's just 2. They do look curled up beautifully together, don't they? They're they were litter. They were the same litter, so they're both 10 years old. They've just got brilliant names. They're called Happy and Overlord. Now I love that because Happy's a normal kind of cat name, isn't it? And then you've got Overlord.
You do have to be careful naming cats like that, because there comes a moment in a cat owner's life where you have to stand on your doorstep and shout the name out across the neighborhood, right? And if you're just shouting out Overlord in a small town in the Algarve, you can get yourself in all sorts of trouble.
I know there are also like Tiddles as well. I'm not sure if we want to be shouting Tiddles too loudly across the park either. But the guy that Danny that wrote it, the person that put it together for me, they let their twins name them. Now there's another one, isn't it? Let your young children.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yes, I could have guessed that. I let the kids name the cats. Yeah, at your peril there. Okay, so out and about with Dave again. Are we on a photographic job here?
Yeah, no, I do a top 5 Algarve every month where I ask people what their I give them a whole list of different questions and they just pick 5 to answer. But we literally, someone that was going to do it wasn't very well for December. So last minute I went, Dave, give me a top 5.
Yeah. Okay, Dave's top 5.
But I thought you'd enjoy this one because one of the questions he chose to answer it was best golf course. Now, anybody that knows Dave knows he doesn't play golf. Can't stand golf, and he picked the golf course for one of his answers, and I'm like, go on then, why have you picked this one? And he goes, oh, it's because it's stunningly beautiful to wander around and photograph. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So I'm like, so if you want to know what the best golf course in the Algarve, he thinks it's the one at Villamora, the old course, but that's got nothing to do with the golf course. The nice
what a lovely name for a golf course, the old course. Very nice. Good job, good work there, Dave. Thank you very much. And meet the author. How was your festival? Where you brought all the authors together last month?
Yeah, it was good. We had about 25-30 people turn up. We all presented and sold lots of books, so it was a nice one to do before Christmas. It was fun. So I think there'll be more planned, I think, for this year for sure. And what was great is the number of people popped up and said, well, I'm an author as well, and we didn't even know about them. And I'm actually having lunch with one of those people that popped up next week. So we've discovered more authors in the Algarve that we didn't know were here. So that's always a good thing, isn't it? So
very interesting. Yeah, and I love that. I love how creative people, how we discover that people are so much more creative, or there are so many more creators than we might originally imagine. Tony James Slater, then tell us, we're running out of time here, but tell us a little bit about Tony James Slater, if you will.
Oh, this is you've got to get hold of the copy of Snapshot just to read his article. It's hilarious. He's a really funny, he writes science fiction and travel memoir, except his idea of travel memoir is slightly different to everyone else's. Everything seems to go wrong for him. He's always willing to literally be the one that bungee jumps out of a tree. And without checking how long the rope is, that kind of thing. He's completely nuts, but really, really funny guy. I mean, his description of himself is that he takes ridiculous challenges, subjects himself to constant danger, and gets hurt quite a lot, which I think sums him up quite well. But he's really good.
He looks like he's got a really long left leg as well, which might get him into some trouble here.
Yeah, it's a great stuff, isn't it? Yeah, right, really funny guy, really nice. Yeah.
All right, and are these your particular favourites from 23?
Yeah, I had real trouble. I did it last year. I did a top 10, and I mixed up with memoir and fiction. This year, I've read so many good books last year that I actually split them. So I've done my top 10 memoirs this month, January, and you'll get non-fiction next month. So these are my favourite memoir books for the year. Paw Prints on Our Hearts is a wonderful story of a guy with rescue dogs, so I particularly like that one. And then you've got lots, and the bottom right is a really good book by Stephen Powell, he's the guy, do you remember I told you, that walked from the northeast of Portugal to the southwest, literally travelling through all the little villages. So that's a really good book.
And I think I said at the time, must get in touch with Stephen and get him on the show, which I haven't done yet. But that's a nice reminder then, because he'll have some great stories to tell, won't he, of his travels here. Brilliant. A nice little plug there for Expats Portugal. We'll be back. There's no webinar tonight for Expats Portugal, but we'll be back with webinars from next Thursday at 7:30 and the Dream Team thereafter at 9. Tonight at 9, I'm going to do a little bit of a live stream and have a chat about security, safety and sanity, more importantly, in a crazy world that we live in. Going to be talking about that at 9. But Expats Portugal there. Thank you so much, Ali. I do love it that you make my own special VIP version for GMP of Snapshot Magazine. So thank you very much for that. Just finally then, from everyone here this morning, Fabrizio and Ian, for 2024, I know you said you weren't too fussed about, the traditional resolution thing, but any message for everybody for 2024 and the year ahead?
Please, peace. Finally, and for everyone, and unconditionally, and just drop all this shit.
Yes. You heard it straight from Fabrizio. Yeah, come on, enough already, right? Let's just get along and take it easy for 2024. Thank you very much, Ian. Did you want to add to that?
No, that was a
showstopper.
Very well. That's what I would.
Thank you both. Have a lovely year in Lisbon. It'd be nice to meet you for lunch one of these days.
Yeah, of course.
Neighborhood Tashka. So maybe we'll do that this year as well as make that. That's an easy to achieve resolution, isn't it? So exactly that with you and the Algarve too. We'd love to do a discovery weekend in the Algarve Valley and hope you'll be part of that. Do you have a message for everybody for the year ahead?
Well, I'm definitely with Fabrizio on, let's just calm everything down a bit. And I think as well, I think the phrase for me as well is self-care, to actually, all of us to take extra time to look after ourselves as well. I think that's quite an important thing as well. There's so much going on in the world. It's so easy to lose track of actually what's important and the people we love and the things that we find that actually nurture ourselves as well. So it's a bit of both of them.
Well said, yeah, because we can get distracted and caught up, can't we, in the very conditions that Fabrizio was addressing there, and it's not good for our health, is it? Immune system and all of that, to be constantly stressed or concerned and anxious about what's going on. So good shout on that, Ali.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
What about you, Carl? You haven't answered it.
Well, you've done it beautifully there, haven't you? I mean, calm down, everyone. How about let's give peace a chance, and then remember to take care of yourself as well. I think you make a really important point, and I think there's a saying, isn't there? If you spoke to what is it? Something to do with how we are last on the list. We don't take care of ourselves. We don't look after ourselves. We don't remember to do that. And I think in the sort of Protestant work ethic culture, it seems like a selfish thing to do, doesn't it? To put your own needs first, possibly, or to create healthy boundaries. But I think more and more people are realizing that it's quite a sensible thing to do, because if you martyr and sacrifice yourself and your own health, you're not much good to anyone else, really, are you? Yeah.
Can also add that it could be helpful also to forgive yourself once in a while.
Yes, very good.
Allow yourself to be wrong, to be to give yourself that space there.
Yeah. Yes, well said. Forgive yourself. I think this saying was, if you spoke to your friends like you spoke to yourself, you probably wouldn't have any. So therein lies another little clue on the.
And I don't know anyone.
Forgive yourself. Okay, all right. Lovely to be hanging out with you. I don't want to say goodbye, but we've got to go do stuff. We've got to go get a jump start from my car. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been broken down, in the quay in San Martino de Porto. So I'm going to go over and deal with that. But thank you so much, Fabrizio and Ian and Alyson Sheldrake, Dave as well. Take care, everybody. Bye for now. Have a great day. We'll see you in the morning. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.
Bom dia, Portugal! In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.